Hey guys, Dave from Nerdarchy, 4 nerds by nerds, hanging out with these nerds.
Nathan Nerdark.
Ted.
And today we got birds on our brain as we delve back into Volo's Guides to Monsters. We're going to be talking about Kenku.
Jump down to the description below where you can sign up for Nerdarchy, the newsletter. It's a great way to get weekly gaming tips as well as learn how to game with us.
If you guys want to jump to page 109 in your Volo's Guide to Monsters, ooh, special edition cover. You can follow along with us as we discuss the Kenku as a player race.
If you haven't gotten your Volo's Guide, jump down to the description below where you can get the link and grab it on Amazon.
We've talked about Kenku before. We broke them down as a monster. We've discussed them a little bit about making them as characters. Been a little infatuated with the Kenku.
Yeah.
The concept is fun. The idea is fun. Some of the things we really like about it, they actually included a sidebar in here to say, don't annoy the rest of the players in your game. What you think might be fun or cute is probably just going to annoy people. So they give some suggestions on how to do it in a way that's not annoying.
With most things, you can get away with it once, but repeatedly doing things that are kind of irritating is going to get your players mad at you.
It's like the language barrier RP. It's fun for a little bit, and then
it gets old.
Let's just assume it happened.
But if you don't know what we're talking about, the Kenku don't actually have a language of their own or even a voice of their own. They create these basically bashed together languages from sounds that they've heard, including like things like their names, stuff like that. And it goes into kind of like detail on how they refer to each other. They refer to each other basically as the sound. So like it talks about warrior types being, it might be the sound of a mace hitting armor or a blade being drawn from a sheath, where non-Kenku would be like, oh, that's Clanger, or oh, his name is Slice. They would refer to them what the name actually represents. It means.
Right.
It also talks about the weird thing about Kenku, and kind of the cool thing is they're a cursed race, and that's why they can't speak that way. They've lost the ability to fly,
And they've lost their creativity.
and they always long for they long for the ability to fly. So that's a big part of their society.
Mm-hmm.
And they're also,
And since they can't fly, they're kind of obsessed with shiny things.
well, no, I think they're more obsessed with flying, like trying to fly.
Well,
like if you go to the monster manual, like one of the punishments they do to Kenku and non-Kenku is like strap wings on them, faux wings, and push them off a cliff. Like that's how they do their executions. It talks about high places, but I think like what you're referring to, I didn't actually see that in here, but I do believe it is in the monster manual. That they do like shiny things, kind of like a crow or a raven or intelligent birds, baubles.
Supposedly they were cursed for probably stealing something.
Yes.
It's lost to legend and lore. But
So you have Kenku, you have an ancient curse, which we kind of talked about a little bit. Dreams of flight, talked about that. They like to hang out in high places, and because they're slight built, they can actually get away with it more so than other comparable races of equal size because they're just less dense.
But I mean, they're 5 foot tall and 120 pounds at their heaviest, so like they're not big and bulky.
Yeah. But one of the problems is because of they like to hang. It talks about them like hanging out in dilapidated towers and stuff like that. But because they lack the creativity, they don't actually know how to make repairs or fix it. So once it falls down, they have to go find a new one, kind of deal. Hopeless plagiarist, which I found this section really cool because this is where it talks about they're actually very skilled at duplicating and recreating things that have already been made, just like their language, where they recycle sounds that they've seen and they've heard. I mean, you can't say a sound. They can do the same things with things, whether it's copying script or making things.
yeah, so they're great forgers.
Makes them expert forgers or scribes.
Yeah.
Although it also talks about, even though these are tasks that they'd be really good at, it's not a lifestyle that they care for.
Right. It's not something that they want to do.
Because they don't want to.
Kenku sweatshops.
Yeah. Absolutely. I could definitely see that being used as a a plot in one of my upcoming games.
So when I heard that Kenku was a PC race in Volo's guide, I was curious about their ability at duplicating things and the voice mimicry, whether that was going to be an actual PC feature, and they put it right in there. So
Yes.
I was pretty happy about that.
So yeah, the actual traits they get in the game, stat bumps are Dex and Wisdom +2 to Dex. They're a really short-lived race, so
60 years,
mature at 12. Yeah, running with a ghost could go badly for you rapidly. They tend towards chaotic when it comes to alignment. Their size is medium. We talked about their size. They only weigh 90 to 120 pounds, 5 foot tallish, 30 foot normal speed. Expert forgery, so they have advantage to any checks made to forge something, which is kind of cool. Kenku training, which is nice because they actually get 2 skills and they get to pick. A short list: acrobatics, deception, stealth, and sleight of hand. So it's cool. They're all useful things. They're things that an adventurer would find handy. And then the mimicry ability that you were talking about is basically they make a deception check against someone else's insight check, is whether or not they can discern if it's a real thing or not. And again, if you could have deception as one of your skills. If you happen to be a rogue, which these guys, I could definitely see that. I could definitely see expertise in deception being one of the things they'd probably take.
Yes, I think that's kind of the pigeonhole, if you want to mind the pun.
Very, very bad. So languages.
They get common and Aran.
Yeah, so and of course
they can understand technically.
Yeah, but both of them, they can only speak through their mimicry. So I guess with Aran, unless they hear someone else speaking it, they're not going to be able to speak back in Aran, and they're only be able to use the phrases they've heard in that person's voice. So like I would almost want to do what it says not to do and create like phrases that other players use in the game, and have a list of them that you would pull out.
See, I would want to go and pull out your phone and record different things and have like a playlist. So it's like, all right, I want to do this.
Good idea, Ted. You should do that with your phone.
But that's what I would want to do if I were to play a Kenku. I think it'd be kind of cool to have these things, and you'd be able to play back these different bits.
Yes. So basically, but Wizards of the Coast basically says that could definitely get old and be overdone. So I would use it for certain things.
Sparingly. Sparingly.
To not drive the rest of your players. It's like having a Kendra at the table. It's like.
It reminds me of that Star Trek episode where the race that talks in metaphors, and they just like say certain things, and you're just supposed to kind of infer like their story about it.
What they mean.
Yeah, what they mean. But it's like they're saying like where the walls fell and all that kind of stuff, and you're like, okay. You only say those things. So if you have a Kenku that just doesn't didn't get out very much, it's going to be really hard to talk to.
I kind of would want to make a Kenku sailor. Like I feel like they'd make all like I would think like especially in a port city that has Kenku, they'd really prize Kenku because they want to hang out in the crow's nest.
Right.
And just be up there. And as a Kenku, I would think you'd want to do it because it'd be like almost like flying.
The wind whipping past their hair and the feathers.
Through their feathers. So the Kenku sailor is probably a win. I also had this idea like a Kenku scribe, but where it says they don't like being cloistered away. But what if what your Kenku discovered was access to all these books that talk about flying creatures and flying and all of the things that they've lost, and he kind of gets to experience them through
the written word.
Yeah, through the written word. And the trade-off is he has to, he's a scribe. So he gets stuck, doing this arduous task of copying everything, but he's really good at it. So it's kind of like a win-win. So it would be like a cool NPC to introduce into the game. Maybe not your player character. The sailor can make a good player character, but I feel like Kenkus are a really fun race for NPCs.
Oh, yes. Definitely, yes. Absolutely.
Yeah, it could be a fun player character race, but even more so just to add fun things to your game. And again, the DM, you can do those kind of like annoying things, but it's only going to be like now and again.
Right. So what do you guys think about the Kenku as a PC race? Have you checked out Volo's guide yet? Put your thoughts and comments down below. While you're at it, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
You can tweet at us over on Twitter.
You also patronize us in a good way over on Patreon.
So until next time, stay nerdy.